from one of my viewers. Hello YouTube. Today we're going to talk about some of the things to look at when you first get a used car. Obviously if you buy a brand new car, hopefully none of these issues arise, but with a used car you really have no idea what, if anything, was done in its past life. So first issue, I find a lot of times you look at the lug nuts and you'll see there's a lot of scoring on them and rounding. That occurs from using the wrong size socket on them. So the correct size is 7/8. However, a 23mm will also fit over the lug nut. Another possibility is they used a 12-point socket instead of a 6-point. Either way, it's just enough off that it can round off the edges of the lug nut and make it difficult, if not impossible, to remove. Believe it or not, I was actually able to fix it. I took a 7/8 impact socket, hammered it over the lug nut, and it bent it back into shape enough that I was able to remove all the lug nuts and the wheel. What I like to do anytime I have a tire off is check the treads. Obviously this tire, the police department drove it in a lot of gravel, so I'm going to pull all this gravel out of the treads there. That should help with rain traction. The main thing that I noticed, which is why I wanted to take the wheels off, the wheels seem out of balance. Now, they're probably not out of balance, but if you notice there's a lot of dirt, tar, and so forth. In fact, when I first got this car, I took tons of road tar off the sides. Well, all of this material here will put your wheel off balance. So I'm going to get in here and scrub and clean this up and hopefully put this wheel back in balance. The other thing I always like to do when I have the wheel off is check the brake pad thickness. This one appears to be okay. It's still got pad between where the wear indicator will start hitting the rotor. So we're good. We'll watch it. It's probably this car has only got 40,000 miles, so the brake pads shouldn't be worn out. However, the police vehicle, there was probably a lot of hard braking, and so these things tend to prematurely wear out. So I'll just have to watch it and see. I will tell you, this car has phenomenal braking capacity, and yet it has very small pads. So it's interesting that they are able to generate as much stopping power as it does with such small pads. So I just take a small screwdriver and just pull this gravel out. It's a tedious process, but it does work. And it should make a big difference. Alright, so you can see with a lot of elbow grease, a little bit of Dawn and water, you get all the stuff off of here. There was enough dirt and road grime and gravel stuck inside of here that it had to be thrown off the wheel balance. It's basically as if you stuck a bunch of wheel weights in here. They were all dispersed pretty crazy. So probably the most important reason to take your tire off and check everything is you can almost bet your life whoever did it last used an impact wrench. Zip these on or just hand tighten them in some careless fashion. And really, that's going to warp your rotors and create problems like that. So you want to find out on either in the owner's manual, shop manual, or internet, wherever you can find it, the torque setting for your lug nuts. And you want to tighten them in a star pattern. That will create even amount of force on your rotor, so your rotor won't warp. Now, my torque wrench set to 140 foot-pounds, which is what this vehicle requires. It's like a bone-breaking amount of force. That's what it calls for. Now some of you out there are going to say, well, your torque wrench may not do exactly 140, it's not NASA certified, whatever. I've heard stuff like that. You know, it's not so much important. I mean, obviously it'd be ideal to get exactly 140, but let's say this is a couple foot-pounds off, and so it only torques into 135. Well, the main thing is having an equal force on there. So using the same torque wrench to tighten them all down, you can have an even amount of force. Now obviously if this thing gets far enough off to where it's not tightening down within a reasonable amount, that would be a problem, but so far so good. There you go. This is the first drive in the Chevy Caprice PPV since I took the wheels off and cleaned all the dirt, rocks, gravel, oil, tar, whatever else was stuck in them. And I have to say, the ride is 100% better. So obviously that was making the wheels out of balance. Now the ride is smooth. So I guess that's a good lesson. If you buy a used car, police car, auction car, auction car, whatever, and whatever that was we just passed looked like somebody went 90 degrees across the freeway and into the guardrail there. Anyway, like I said, buying a used car, particularly a police car that may have been driven in a lot of gravelly roads, areas with a lot of tar on the road stuff. Take your wheels off, clean them, you may be surprised how much better your ride is. I really thought it was the light bar on top of the roof that was making the ride so rough, but it wasn't. It was obviously those wheels being out of balance.